Hey folks, been a long time since I've done a video, so I thought I'd just put one up on a work stand, tool stand that I've built over the past couple of weeks. I say over the past couple of weeks, I'd sort of get a little bit done here and there, so there was no point doing a video of me building it, because most of the time was spent standing around figuring out what was going to go where and how I was going to do it all, so it would have been a pretty boring video, so I thought I'd just do one of the final product. So dimensions on it, base is about a bit over 50 centimeters by 65 centimeters. So in imperial, it's about roughly 20 inches by 25 inches. It's not exact. It was made up mostly of old scrap that I had. So the sizing is a little bit higgledy-piggledy. I would have probably liked to have made it a little bit deeper, so it's a bit squarer. Which just, it's a little bit skinny, I think, compared to how I would have liked to have made it. But sort of I didn't realise that until after I'd cut the sides and sort of had it all together and actually started loading it up with tools. So sort of run you through what we've got here. Made up a little box for the top here, just odds and ends, pens, pencils, knives, brushes. Still sort of figuring out what's going to go where at the moment. Grease, tape, tape on the front there, screwdrivers, variety. I've sort of got them kind of laid out so you've got Phillips heads and flats sort of all bunched together, punches, the all important hammer, hex keys, spanners. So spanners are all on a magnetic tool rail there. I did have one of the organisers where they sort of hang, but when I mounted it on the side here, but because it pointed down, you couldn't see what size it was. So I've actually angled this up a little bit. So it's, I mean, a bit hard to see with the light reflecting off it, but it's easier to see what size spanner you're grabbing. Pliers, shelf with a couple of power tools on it and some brake cleaner and stuff. So it is kind of just a work in progress. Sockets and angle grinder there at the moment. I will mount the angle grinder probably on the back of it. On the side here, some bigger screwdrivers, files, chain breaker, chain whip, saws down the bottom. So I've sort of been going through my toolbox and grabbing out stuff that I use on a somewhat regular basis to stick there. On the back here, we've got all the power tools. So charger on each side for the two different ecosystems I've got, the Zito stuff and the DeWalt. I have done videos on the impact drive that I've got in the middle there. So I've kind of got it laid out as well. So I've got drills on either side, impact wrench, impact driver, impact wrench in the middle. So it's sort of universal as to, I know which one to grab straight away. So, and I've cut so that was just, it's nothing fancy there. I didn't use a jigsaw. It was basically a hole saw and the circular saw to cut that out. So it's not pretty, but once the tools are in there, it does the job. So I sort of custom made each width of those because each tool is a little bit different in width to how wide it needs to be. The main thing with the width on those is actually your forward reverse switch determines, because that's where it sits. So that's just half-inch ply. The main body of it is made out of melamine, which I did have some edging that I've used to put on there from when I made a kitchen cabinet from upstairs. So I haven't trimmed it very neatly. I've just basically run it down because it's underneath the house. So it does get a little bit of weather through. So I wanted to seal it. That's why I painted all the ply there. It's a mix of screwed together and nail gunned together. I bought an air nail gun, just does the brad nails in the 1.6 mil and 16 gauge and 18 gauge. So I've started doing a review up on that, which I'll stick up just for shits and giggles when I get around to it. But yeah, I'll end up mounting the angle grinder on the back here. I've just got to get something to make a cradle up for it to sit in. just so it's at the back with all the others. I did have a brace across here, which I took out when I decided that I was going to put the batteries and the attachments in there. It was just too hard to get out and too hard to see what I was grabbing, so opening that back up. I originally had it in there for structural integrity, but then as I added that shelf in, which I was originally going to have those in some PVC pipe on the sides, but decided to go that way. On the other side here, just smaller screwdrivers, since I had these holders, so I figured I'd put them in there. A ruler there and some cutters. Scissors, I've just got in a bit of PVC pipe. I do have a couple of bits of PVC pipe in there that I use as organisers to hold stuff, so I'm going to make more, and I had these plastic containers there that I've used as organisers as well. So yeah, that's it at the moment. Yeah, it was all done with circular saw. For cutting, I don't have a table saw or anything like that. So with these holes that I cut out here, which were just to reduce weight, and basically just drew out the size I was going to take, and then just plunged the circular saw through. So it's rough, but you know, it does the job for what I'm doing. It doesn't need to be pretty. It's just to hold tools and tidy up my workbench. I do have a shadow board on the back, but I was always putting tools down and dropping. I don't get enough time to properly organise my workbench in there on a regular basis. Normally I'll be doing something and basically I'll finish the job and have to go straight back upstairs, get the usual call of, when you're done, can you come up? And that usually means that I'm done, whether I'm done or not. So that's it for now. If you have any questions, post up in the comments. I'll try and answer them as best I could. With the holes here, basically just grab from a hex keys. They're all different sizes to make them sit better. It was just a case of drilling an appropriate size hole to get them to slide in nicely. And basically it was done. I laid out the tools as to how they were going to go, and then drilled each hole as I went through. So, but that magnetic tool rail, it was $10 from Bunnings, so it's 600 mil long. The downside to that is the magnet only comes to there, so I've got the rail that's 600 mil long, but the magnet's probably only a bit over 500 long, which is made me lose a little bit of space there, but not too bad. I may end up making a different holder for the pliers there. I did have them sitting in a big bit of PVC pipe up on the top there, but I may end up making something more like what I've got the scissors there to hold them in. One thing I did just want to add on is the wheel. So I originally started with 2 wheels that were fixed, not rotating, and then 2 wheels that were fully rotational, but it ended up being a pain to turn because you had to sort of turn it in big circles, whereas this I can now basically turn it on the spot and roll it around. So I've got lockable casters on the front there, and then just the normal pivoting wheels on the back. But yeah, that was something that I found, if I'd known how heavy it was going to end up being, especially now that I've got the socket sets in there and the impact wrench set over there, the impact socket set, I probably would have gone to a bigger, heavier duty wheel, because it is just a little bit heavy to push, and I think bigger wheels would have helped there. But that's sort of live and learn. If I end up making another one down the track, I may upgrade the wheels, or even just upgrade the wheels on this one down the track. But they were only a pretty cheap wheel that I was just doing. I won't probably bring it out into the carport too often because it is kind of heavy. I've got about a 10-inch step to get it down out of my little workshop under the house. So I've got to make a ramp up for it to make it easier to get it in and out. I've just got a couple of sheets of melamine there at the moment that are working as a ramp. But I basically have to go too thick because it is heavy enough that I think it would just snap a single layer of that. But I've only got a short piece there, so it's a pretty steep ramp to get it down out of there. But I'll make up cut up some sleepers and make them as a ramp to make it easier, just for if I'm working on the car and need more tools. But most of the time I'm only working on bikes and that are underneath the house, so easy enough to get to. Thanks for watching.